Hello, welcome to the lecture 14 of game theory class. Lecture 14. So we are in the fifth week and this is a second class. I will provide you new file, PPT file, because there's a lot of graphs and pictures. The file gets bigger, so I decide to divide it up. So I'm gonna provide you several files, maybe PPT file number 5 or something at the end. And this is going to be the second file of the class. Okay, once again, if you think your professor name is Sun Han, you're in the right class, and this is game theory and its applications. Okay, the right hand side, once again, I'm the faceless professor. I have been in the spring semester, but I decide to show you my face sometimes as well as my voice. And the right hand side is my picture of my high school days. Okay, I used to look like it. Actually, I was not that fat. Okay, but then now this year 2020, my birthday, the June 4th, and I look like a baby, fat baby. But anyway, that was my birthday this year. So it took me 33 years from changing from this high schooler to fat professor. Okay. Once again, you know how I look like. Okay, so if you want to have a face for my voice, this is me nowadays. Okay, we are continue to do the applications. Okay, I once again forgot to set the alarm clock. Okay, the Nash Equilibrium. It's gonna be a little bit mathematical calculations, but not so difficult. I mean, if you can do a simple differentiation, everything would be smooth. Let's see. Monopoly. Do you know what monopoly is? There is only one company who is producing that. Like electricity company in Korea, the Hanjeon is provide Korean electric company provide electricity to all Koreans. And if you are Korean, you want to use the electricity, there's only one company you can buy, and that is Hanjeon. Okay. If you are a monopoly facing the demand curve, price equal 20 minus quantity. So if you produce 10 product, the price is going to be 10. Now it's like decreasing curve, so it fits the general idea of when the price goes up, the quantity decrease. And CQ is the cost curve. Like C10 is if you want to produce 10 of the product, what would be the cost? C is the cost. Okay. And we'll assume that if you produce 10, cost would be 10. If you produce 20, the cost would be 20. Very simple curve, actually line. Okay. So we can have like this vague abstract demand curve and abstract cost curve, but for the simplicity of calculation, I'm going to give you this simple 20 minus Q demand curve and Q, the marginal cost. Do you remember the marginal cost is if you want to increase the quantity one more, how much the cost would increase? If you produce 10, it's 10. If you produce 11, it's 11. So when you change from 10 to 11, increase the quantity 1, your cost would increase also from 10 to 11. So the marginal cost is 1. So marginal cost, when the word comes out, you know what that means. Okay. The monopoly company profit, in this case, the profit would be P multiply Q, the price of the product and the quantity of the product this is how much money you get from the consumer. You have a chocolate bar and you have sold 100 chocolate bars at the price of 20. What would be your revenue? 20 price 20 multiply 100 chocolate bars. So you today earned $2,000. Okay? Is that your profit? No. You spend money to make the chocolate. If you spend 3,000, today you lose money because your revenue is 2,000, your cost is 3,000. But luckily, if you use only, for example, 1,000, then 2,000 minus 1,000, the 1,000 is your profit. So this denotes the profit of the company. Okay, and the question is, there are P and Qs here. And if you're a monopoly company, are you gonna decide Q or P? You may ask, oh, I want to decide both. I want to say, if I'm a seller of the chocolate bar, I want to sell million chocolate bars and the price should be $1 million. Then I would be a very rich man just the first day and I quit the job. That doesn't work. It doesn't work that way because the demand curve, when the quantity increase, the price decrease. Okay? So when you choose price like 11, the quantity would be automatically 9. If you choose quantity like 15, the price would be automatically 5. So you choose Q, P would follow. You choose P, Q would follow. Unfortunately, if Q increase, P decrease, P increase, Q decrease. So if you are a monopoly company, would you rather choose Q or P? Let's check. If you choose Q, maximize the profit with the quantity, okay? Then we know P is 20 minus Q, so we replace P with 20 minus Q, multiply Q, minus CQ is Q we assumed. So this is the profit with our assumption of demand and cost. And the first order condition, I hope you understand this word, which means you differentiate whatever you want to maximize, which is a profit here. You differentiate and set it 0 because at the maximum, the slope of the curve would be 0. Okay, if you don't remember this, go back to your mathematics for economics, 경제수학 course, and check on that. So 19 minus 20, it's if you just subtract this minus q in front, it's going 19q minus q square. If you differentiate it, 90q minus q square, it's 19 minus 2q. q square, the 2 jumps out and 2 become 1, so 2q. Okay, so as a result, the optimal Q, the profit maximizing Q for this monopoly company, when it decides to decide Q, is 19 over 2. Okay, and because the price is 20 minus Q, 20 minus 19 over 2 would be the price 21 over 2. Okay. What is the profit in this case? I didn't write it down, but then the profit would be, because the marginal cost is 1, P minus marginal cost multiply Q. Okay? Or you P multiply Q minus C, C is Q. Okay? So it's going to be the 19 over 2 multiply 19 over 2. Okay, so 19 square over 2 square. That would be the profit. Okay, so we got the profit 19 square over 2 square. Okay, when the monopoly company used the quantity Q to maximize the profit. What if the monopoly company this time choose P? Same profit function. Now Q equal 20 minus P, so let's replace it. It's, okay, P is here, and Q would be replaced 20 minus P, and CQ is Q, so it's 20 minus P. Okay? So it's like 20P, but here P minus, so 21P minus P square minus 20. And for the condition, minus 20 would disappear because constant. It's going to be 21P minus P square. That is, if you differentiate, 21 minus 2P. So P equals 21 over 2. This time we calculate P. And then if we put it there, when P is 20 over 2, the Q should be 19 over 2. Same thing. So in monopoly, like we wasted our time agonizing whether the monopoly company should later choose Q or P, because it doesn't matter. In monopoly case, whether the company maximize with Q, whether the company maximize with P, the results are always the same. Okay, so when you are maximizing the monopoly company's profit, don't bother yourself. Just choose whatever you want. Q or P, they are all same. Okay, then what about it's not a monopoly, it's a duopoly or oligopoly, which means there are 2 companies, 3 companies like that. I'll tell you in advance, if there are more than 1 company, like 2, 3, 4, 5, the result is totally different when you maximize with price or when you maximize profit with quantity. So we are going to do that separately and get some insight. Counot is the economist who lived like 150 years ago, long time ago. I believe he's French, I think, or Italian, maybe Italian. But anyway, he was far ahead of game theory. So he didn't know anything about game theory. John Nash was born, maybe John Nash's grandfather wasn't born. But then Counot by himself, like long time ago, if I want to analyze duopoly or oligopoly, I would rather do that. And he assumed that companies are choosing Q to maximize their profit. So in duopoly and oligopoly situation, firm may choose the production quantity Q. Qi means there are 2 companies, Q1, Q2. They decide separately and let the market decide the price P. Okay, so let's go back. It's 20 minus Q equal P. But this Q, there are Q1 and Q2, 2 companies. The consumers cannot tell whether the product is Q1 and Q2. So Q1 is 5, Q2 is 6. Then the Q as a total would be 5 and 6, 11. So the price is 20 minus 11 equal 9. That's what it means. Okay, the market decide P against Q1 plus Q2. Here, the players are the firms, and strategies are the quantities of the firms that decide, and the payoffs are the firm's profit. We are going to denote pi 1 and pi 2. Later, I'm going to introduce somebody else, that is Bertrand. Bertrand is another French person, and then he thought the companies, the companies are not deciding the quantity, they are deciding the price. Think it over like in real life. You are going in a business and you are making a medicine for coronavirus. Are you going to decide like, I will charge like $10 for each dosage of the coronavirus? Or are you going to say, I'm going to produce 1 million dosage of the coronavirus vaccine? Which would you do? Are you going to that, I'm going to charge $10 for the vaccine? And if the consumer wants 10 million, I'll produce 10 million. If the consumer is 15 million, then I'll produce 15 million. Would that be the case? Or are you going to say, oh, I have corona vaccine, I'm going to produce 10 million of them? Price, when I produce 10 million, the market will decide the price. So are you going to decide the price and let the market decide the quantity? Or are you going to decide the quantity or let the market decide the price? Anyway, Counot think usually the companies are deciding quantity. Well, on the contrary, the Botring think usually companies are deciding the price. Counot Nash equilibrium. Okay, let's analyze the Counot case first. Assume that the price is 20 minus Q1 plus Q2. This used to be Q, but now it's combined Q. Okay, so and then we assume the same thing, same monopoly companies like cost curve, but now there are two. C1 Q1 is Q1, C2 Q2 is Q2. The marginal cost is 1. So the marginal cost, by the way, is constant at 1. The profit of the first company would be P minus marginal cost, which is 1, multiply Q1. This is whenever you sell one product, you will receive price P from the consumer, but then among them, the marginal cost 1 is the cost. So your pure profit per unit of the product would be P minus marginal cost. Then how many products did you sell? You multiply, then that would be a profit. If you apply the above thing, okay, once again, this recorded lecture, so you go over, and I provide you the PPT file so you can check on that. If you solve this, P would be this, MC would be 1, so it's going to be 19 minus Q1 minus Q2, multiply Q1. Likewise, pi 2 would be 19 minus Q1 minus Q2, multiply Q2, because Q2 is here. P minus MC are the same part. We want to maximize this by differentiating. In here, we do the partial differentiation. And if you are a first company, can you control Q2? No. The only thing you can control is Q1. Q2 is the other company's business. So you cannot touch the Q2. The only thing you can control is Q1. So you are changing Q1 to maximize this profit. And when it's maximized, the slope of the pi curve would be 0. So we differentiate pi 1 with Q1 and then set it 0 here, okay? Then that would be the maximum point. So if you do that, 19 minus, because Q1 squared is here, 2Q1 minus Q2 should be 0. Same reason, the pi 2 should be differentiated by Q2 because the second company's profit, the second company cannot touch Q1. It only controls Q2. So it changes Q2, and at the maximum, the pi 2 slope would be 0. So differentiate pi 2 with Q2, this should be 0. So we have to find a Q1, Q2 that satisfies this condition and this condition. There are two equations, two unknowns. Usually we get the result. Q1, Q2 should be equal to 19 over 3. Okay? When you have that, you put it Q1 plus Q2 would be 38 over 3. So the P should be 20 minus 38 over 3. That is 22 over 3. Okay, so the Nash equilibrium, because the players are the two firms and the payoffs are pi 1, pi 2, and the strategies are Q1 and Q2. So Nash equilibrium, you have to point out the Q1 and Q2, which would be 19 over 3, 19 over 3. So now you calculate. This is really fits the definition of Nash equilibrium, because as long as the second company choose Q2 as 19 over 3, the first company's best strategy 19/3. As long as the first company choose 19/3, the second company's best strategy 19/3. So once they begin to play this, each others are best strategy against each other, so they have no incentive to change their quantity. So even though Counot lived long time ago, even before John Nash's grandfather was born, but then somehow nowadays we looked at, wow, Counot had the concept of Nash equilibrium in his mind when he talked about Counot competition. Now, let's move to Counot competition with three forms. Oh, one thing I want to point out, I told you that Professor Nash said the most of the case the Nash equilibrium exists and the conditions are there are a finite number of players and finite number of strategies. But in our previous example, the Counot competition, the quantity can be anything. Like this is a real number. So you know that there are infinite number of quantities out there. So there's no guarantee that this game has a Nash equilibrium, but we are fortunate that we have Nash equilibrium. So even though the Nash's condition is not satisfied, like there are infinite number of strategies, in many cases we still have Nash equilibrium. That's why I said almost all the time we have Nash equilibrium. Anyway, this is one of the cases. Okay, Counot with three forms. Now, P would be 20 minus Q1 plus Q2 and Q3 because there are three forms. And we assume that all marginal costs are 1 because CQ1 equal 1, CQ2 equal 2, C3Q3 equal Q3. And the profit, now we have to consider the profit of three companies. It's going to be 19 minus Q1 minus Q2 minus Q3 multiply Q1. Okay? Do it by yourself. Okay? It's going to be in the assignment and you are going to use that quite a lot if you go to the industrial organization class and higher class. Okay? Once again, we have to find out the first order condition. We differentiate pi 1 with Q1, pi 2 with Q2, pi 3 with Q3, and all set them 0 because the first company can only control Q1, the third company can only control Q3, and at the maximum, the slope would be 0. So it's going to be this equal 0, this 19 minus Q1 minus Q2 minus 2, Q3 are 0 and 0. I mean, the trick is how to find out Q1, Q2, Q3 in here is that in the end, Q1 equal Q2 equal Q3 if you rearrange it. So 19 minus Q1 minus Q2 minus Q3 is same as 19 minus 4Q1 equals 0, 19 minus 4Q3 equals 0, and things like that. As a result, Q1, Q2, Q3 are all same and 19 over 4. And you put this over here, which is 70, I think. Together, 57 over 4. 57 over 4. 20 minus 57 over 4 would be 23 over 4. So the price is 23 over 4. And if you are asked, find out the Counot-Nash equilibrium in this oligopoly case, that is Q1 equal 19 over 4, Q2 equal 19 over 4, Q3 equal 19 over 4 because they are the strategies. Then you got the perfect point. Okie dokie. Instead of doing the buttering duopoly, I'm gonna point out one thing. Look at the Counot competition with two companies. We know that the price are 22 over 3. And the quantity is 19 over 3, so together Q1 plus Q2 is 38 over 3. And if you just recalculate, it's 7.3 approximately and 12.6 approximately. And the pi, the profit of the pi 1 plus pi 2, combined profit would be 81.33. Okay, how did I do that? Lots of calculation. So you, with these numbers P and Q, Q1 plus Q2, you calculate. Because P is 7.3 and the marginal cost is 1, every sales you got like 6.3 and the quantity 12.6. So like 6.3 multiply 12.6, that would be approximately 81 kind of thing. Okay? In the previous case, oh, this is 3 firms, I'm sorry. The Counot competition with 3 firms. Once again, I made a mistake, 3 firms. P equal 23 over 4, which is 5.75, and Q equals, for each firms, 19 over 4. That's why Q1, Q2, Q3 all together 57 over 4, which is 14.25. And the profit would be P minus the marginal cost multiply Q. So it's like 4.75 multiply 14.25, which is 67.7. You calculate once again. Okay? Why am I talking about this? The company's number in Counot duopoly increased from 2 to 3. Okay, this is 3. And then the price changed from 7.3 to 5.75. Price decreased. Quantity 12.6, 14.25 increased. And the profit 81.33, 67.7 decreased. Okay? What about monopoly case? Monopoly case, the price was 21 over 2, 10.5. The quantity is 9.5. But then P minus marginal cost 1 is 9.5. So 9.5 multiplying 9.5 would be the profit. That would be 90.25. So when you compare the monopoly 1 company case, duopoly 2 company case, Counot competition, 3 company case, Counot competition, the price changed from 10.5, 7.5, 5.75. Price keep decreasing. Quantity 9.5, 12.6, 14.25. Quantity keep increasing. What about the profit? 90, 81, 67 keep decreasing. So this Counot competition is quite intuitive. As the number of firms increase, competition gets like more fierce. As a result, the price would drop, the quantity would increase, and the company's profit would decrease. So this is kind of characteristic of Counot competition. I strongly urge you to think about 4 company case. I calculate for you 1, 2, of course 1 is not Counot, it's monopoly. 1, 2, 3 Counot competition. Please calculate 4, 5 and N company competition. You can do it because you are very smart Yonsei University student. Okay, this is the end of lecture 14. See you in lecture 15.